welcome back. And as was mentioned earlier in the show, our final segment for today is a conversation with representatives of the Belize Family Life Association. We have joining us at this time Sheena Gentle and Anna Carrillo. Good morning and welcome.
Good morning.
Morning. Well, we are grateful that you're with us this morning. Of course, we want to talk about your big Chatz program. But before we get into that, we know it is definitely one of your youth-led initiatives. So let's talk about the Belize Family Life Association's work with young people in this country.
Okay, well, BFLA has been around since 1985, and we were primarily addressing the case of teen pregnancy at that time, and we were in Dangriga. Over the years, we have transitioned, and we have 6 clinics. And one of the major components of BFLA work is with the youth. We believe that the work has to be done as early as possible, and now we are being pressed more to be working with young persons, and we're talking about like 10-year-olds, and to try to bring up the awareness with them. So we have been able to address the areas in sexual and reproductive health, primarily looking at the prevention standpoint of that. So we're looking at the prevention of teen pregnancy, prevention of sexually transmitted infections, and also new incidences for infections. Also as in the prevention of reoccurring infections or other infections that they can be prone to. As well as, because the statistics has been showing is that there's also the group of young persons who are infected with HIV is starting very early. It's between the ages of 15 to 29. So these are persons that we are expecting to move into the reproductive and productive years, and if we don't prepare them to be healthy to when that time arises, then we might probably have a very sick population, if you want to look at it that way.
Yeah.
So looking over the years, starting from 1985, that's quite a long time. What would you say the impact has been with the initiatives that you've had at the clinic to prevent these kind of issues that you talked about?
Well, we've been able to, we are affiliated with the Caribbean Family Planning Affiliation. We are a affiliate of, or a member association of the International Planned Parenthood. So along the years, BFLA has been able to be very accredited and also been able to work with our partners. This is not a job that is done solely by BFLA. This is a job that is being done by the network of all the organizations that come together, government, civil society, and so forth. In terms of BFLA has been doing the provision of services, and that's where one of our biggest strong points has been, because we are reaching not necessarily the young person, but we are reaching the population that is being missed. A lot of times we have been able to, even like with the Ministry of Health is doing mobile clinics, we are also doing mobile clinics. But we are reaching the areas where people wouldn't have had necessarily the access to go and have these. And then also because our services are targeted and they are a little bit more comprehensive to the sexual and reproductive health. So a lot of people tend to come to us.
And one of the things we pride ourselves on would be the youth-friendly spaces and also our confidentiality, because although they come at a younger age to our clinic, I mean, we're very private with everything that we do.
Now, and I think that's a key thing to look at. You know, you guys have been more and more recognized for the health services that you offer to women and men, to be very clear, from family planning to cancer screening, screening and treatment. And I think all of these things have become a part, hopefully more, people are more aware that it is available through the BFLA. But you also pride yourself with work with young people. And if anybody has taken the first step into your offices, you can immediately sense the youthfulness with the colors and the decor and the layout. So let's talk about how you keep young people actively engaged in your program.
Like I said, along the years we have learned a lot. I've been at BFLA 14 years. And in my 14 years, we realized once we were doing activities for them, and we were doing all the planning and everything else, and then we realized that these initiatives need to be led by them because they know what their needs are. We need to meet those needs. We thought we knew what they wanted, and along the way we realized that there's potential for a lot more. So one of what came out of it was the initiative of the Big Chatz, and we started 13 years ago on radio.
Wow.
And it was up and coming, and I remember I was just started working at BFLA most like 6 months, and we were going on radio, and I had no clue what we were doing. And we had I remember one of our first hosts was Tanya Carter, and Melanie Alvarez and Sharonda Williams, and all of these young ladies that are now young, they're mothers and they're adults now, and we had given them the opportunity to start this radio show, and it became popular, and a lot of people were asking for it to come back. BFLA is a non-profit organization, so we have to source funding. So sometimes funding is a little bit hard to come by, but we have been very fortunate that we have been able to acquire or have the funding and the support from our partners to ensure that we have the Big Chat. So everything that we do is that we involve the young persons in the process. So when you walk in the building and you see the colorful, the bright and colorful space, it's not us deciding what color it will be the young person. And as you move along, I mean, one of the things that we wanted to do was to make sure that it was informative. Yes, it's colorful, but as you get there, if you don't ask a question, the answer is on the wall. That's basically,
And when we say we work with youths, because we're moving now from youth friendly to youth centered. So that means everything that we do would be centered around the young people that we work for. And it has been coming along because at least I know I've been there for a few months now. And they literally call the shots. I mean, if they say they want to do a bake sale, and we're having a bake sale today. They want to do a bake sale.
Oh, there's a bake sale today?
Yes, they have a bake sale today. So they want to do that, we have to do that.
Too, if it's you.
Yeah, so whatever they have, they make their own plans, their agendas, everything they do for their meetings, because we meet every Friday. They run that, and then we are here to assist them.
And I think, sometimes these are evident of what we've been doing with them, because we have been preparing them. I mean, Marlene, you've been with them, you have had them here, and they pretty much run their own game, and they do whatever. And then what happened is that we make sure that it's being channeled in the proper direction, and make sure that it's whatever they want to do, it's positive and it's going to impact everyone, and that everybody's going to benefit from it.
You know, we easily underestimate the knowledge, the power, and the ability of young people of all ages. And I think that sometimes we feel like they must be babied for a very long time. Sheena, let's talk a bit about your experience jumping into a organization that is so youth focused, and you hear young people recognizing issues, wanting to work towards issues. What has that process been like for you? I mean, youth work is one of the things that unless you've actually done it, you won't understand it.
It was a real culture shock, to say the least, because I've never really been around young people. I've worked with women and doing advocacy, but in a different field. So now working with sexual reproductive health and being around these young people who are so informed. I mean, I look up to them because they can hold their own on a public scene. And they know exactly what they're working for with the help of BFLA. They know exactly how to go about and share the information with other young people. And it definitely keeps the work I do fun, because it keeps me young. You get to understand all the little lingos and all the new apps and all, everything that's going on with the young people. And then, of course, when you go out to outreach, it's always fun.
It's a different dynamics. It's, they come with their own energy, and if you don't have that energy, you get left behind.
That's true.
Here's the thing, though. Adults get nervous about young people speaking out openly.
Oh, yeah.
And as we get older, it starts to happen without you realizing it. They say something in a term that is so foreign to you, or they let you in on details of things that are happening in their own youth world that you would never believe. How do you help them to deliver that message? Because that's what Big Chats will be about. Deliver that youth message that makes the rest of us uncomfortable.
I think it starts with gaining the information on sexual and reproductive health. That's one of the biggest aspects, because them being themselves, That's a given. They want to be on TV. They want to experience something. They want to be a Marlene. They want to have these experiences. And but it's having the information and make sure that the information is appropriate. And when we say appropriate, we talk about if it's sensitive, it's age appropriate. It has to be geared for the people that they're working with. We've had where our young people, sometimes the filter system is not all that. So sometimes they just say things and then afterwards you're like trying to come back from it. So what we are working on is on that. So that's what they've been doing is it's the delivery of the message. They have the message. It's not how to deliver the message and how the message is going to be received. Because we've because we've been doing this for 13 years, we have gotten certain backlashes because you're saying, oh, you have young people saying the word sex, or they're talking about these things, and if it's more difficult or it's harder to accept from one young person to another. I mean, so from a young person coming from an adult standpoint, because then it sounds like you're preaching. So if it's coming from the young person to young person, then it's probably they can understand themselves, but it's the delivery of the message and how they go to deliver it.
No, and I was thinking that same thing. A lot of times with young people, especially young people, it's hit and miss. So with the Big Chatz program, what are some of the initiatives that you've seen have not only resonated with the young people, but with adults as well to make it really effective and, worthwhile?
One of the things that we've experienced with the Big Chatz is that people would call in, because we have we don't necessarily accept calls, we accept texts. But people would call the office and say, hey, I like the topic that you did this week. Can it be rerun or something like that? And then when we have the cash prizes, then you're going to see who are the winners that are coming. Sometimes they will use Sheena Gentle, this 14-year-old young lady, and then when you're going to realize it's somebody older, and he's like, I was listening to the show too. I wanted my child to listen to me, so I sat there with my child, and then it created spaces where families can sit and have discussion with their children, because we've had where parents will come and say it's a good show. You would the same thing with the hit and miss. Sometimes the young people feel like, oh well, this not happened to us. It's because they're living in their own reality. Sometimes it's making it appropriate for them and make sure that it's geared for them.
And even with the youth group that we have, we've had parents actually bring their child in because maybe they might be too shy. So they might come, like last week we had a parent, she brought her 2 kids and she waited outside for them because she knew that they would be shy. So she was right outside and then they were inside, entertaining and exchanging with the other children. Yeah.
And I can imagine that dynamic is really, really touchy as well. I mean, I know a lot of parents, they don't like to necessarily talk to their children about sexual health issues because they feel like if they know about it, then they're going to experiment.
Yeah.
How do you quell that kind of mentality, or how do you shift that mentality?
One of the things that I've been using is the statistics. What is statistics is saying, and that is as evident as you can get it. I mean, it's saying that a vast majority of our young people are having sex, and in terms of what is in place for them is very limited. The Ministry of Education is doing something, the Ministry of Health is doing something, BFLA is trying to do it, but then what we're doing is using these initiatives to making it a little bit more different, because we use social media, we use our Facebook, we have hashtags that we've been using so that the awareness is out there. And we tell parents, if you are not comfortable talking to your child, bring them over to BFLA, because we're going to sit and talk to them. And we've had several parents who had inboxed and asked, how do I talk to my child about puberty? How do I bring these messages across? And then some of them would bring their child and they'll be like, I'm leaving them for an hour, I'll come back for them. Or they go somewhere and they wait in the lobby while we talk to the young person.
Yeah. And that's such a, I think the opportunity that will come from people seeing young people talk about these issues in a responsible manner. We definitely want to encourage parents and children to tune in and watch it as well. If you were to tell us what you can expect, because it will be different, it's a youth show. So I think people have to be prepared to understand that it's going to be from the young people. What can people expect when they tune into Big Chatz?
Well, the first thing they can expect is the host would be from the YAM. They would be our young people, and the questions might be different from what an older person will ask. So if we're talking about sexual reproductive health, if we're talking about HIV, if we're talking about dating, bullying, the questions will be different. So you'll have questions directly from the young people, and of course we're opening it up so that the people who are viewing the show can also text in and ask their questions as well.
Okay.
We'll also have prizes, giveaways. We'll have well, what we want to do is talk about puberty. We have different topics. There's a lot of topics that we want to cover, but unfortunately, we only have four shows this season. So hopefully, next season there is so much more that we can cover. But we want it to be fun and engaging. That's our main thing, especially for the young people.
And who do you hope to have as guests on the show? Is it just the young people, or do you hope to have experts?
No, we're going to have experts, and we've already have our experts lined up for the season. Because we wanted to make, what happened is that the discussion pieces are going to be like, we want to be very formal, straightforward type of conversations, but the segments that we are putting in then is supposed to make it a little bit more fun, more interactive, educational as well in the process. There are some pieces there that is going to make probably, it's probably questions that young people want to ask but don't know how to ask.
Right.
And then what we are going to do is open it up to the public as well, is for them to give in their questions so that then we can do it in another segment or other pieces.
Oh, fantastic. And just of course, BFLA does have a text line for people to ask questions outside of the show itself.
Yes, we have the chit chat
hotline.
Yeah, so once you call BFLA, you can ask them for that information, so you can anonymously or ask for information. This is such a great initiative. I think it's great that we get to see young people doing positive things.
And then we start on Saturday.
This Saturday.
This Saturday at 11.
At 11.
And it's live.
All right.
Yes.
So people can check it out right here on Channel 5. We don't want them to miss it. It's from young people, for young people, but we guarantee there's a lot of information as adults that we will be able to understand a bit more about how the young people are feeling and thinking, and even learning new information as well. All right? Great. Anything else you'd like to say?
Bake sale today. BFLA.
And then we have a Halloween goodie bag sale as well. It's on, they can visit our page, YAM Belize, on Facebook. YAM Belize, and Facebook, and they can see, and I mean, they can comment, like, if they want to share some ideas, they can inbox.
The page is very active. We have pictures up from, because we have different branches of YAM in Dangriga, Orange Walk, Cookie Tree, and Belize City. So they're very active, posting pictures every day, talking about their fundraisers and all of that. So,
and then we are having our anniversary. October, end of October is our. Actually, it's October 31st, but we're doing it the Friday,
the 28th.
The 28th.
BFLA?
The YAM.
YAM. Oh, okay.
And I think we're celebrating 13 years as well.
Nice. And if young people want to get involved with the youth group?
Basically, we just ask them to come into BFLA. If they want to ask questions, like a parent or someone want to ask questions, they can also call our offices, 203-1018.
Or just show up.
Or just show up on meetings on Fridays.
Yeah.
Fridays at what time?
At 5. But they start coming in as soon as school over, they come over to us. See the bake sale right there.
There you go. Don't miss the bake sale. Of course, that's a fundraising effort for the youth group from the BFLA, Youth Advocacy Movement, very active group of young people. And don't miss Big Chats on Saturday at 11, right here on Channel 5. It is a show by the youths, for the youths, and anybody else who wants to watch. It is live. You'll be able to ask questions, so don't miss it. Right?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
All right, we're going to go ahead and take that final break, and when we come back, we'll have our wrap up, so stay tuned.